Hi again, everyone. I'm the Cantankerous Collector. This is episode number 28. This is just going to be kind of a short video here. I was going through some of my collection and I found this item of interest. King Kong, 1976 movie, uh, produced by Dino De Laurentiis, starring Jeff Bridges and introducing Jessica Lange. Pretty big movie of my childhood. It came out in 76, obviously, 1 year AJ after Jaws. I have a bunch of King Kong 76 stuff, and I'll bring that stuff out eventually. But right now, I've got a collectible. This is really nice condition. This is the Time magazine dated October 25th, 1976. It's got Jessica Lange with in King Kong's grasp. This is in really nice condition. I mean, this is what, 47 years old. I mean, this is really old. It's a great cover. I mean, you saw this image on a lot of different things back then. You know, this movie, this had a huge marketing campaign, kind of like Jaws did. You know, Jaws sort of started all that. Although Planet of the Apes had a bunch of merchandise and stuff that was released in the early 70s up until mid to late 70s. But the uh, the King Kong movie had a lot of toys and collectibles and all kinds of stuff, puzzles, games, and of course, it benefited from that great John Berkey artwork. That was awesome. I mean, all the different paintings he did for the movie, including that great the painting of King Kong on the World Trade Center. What makes this really special is this particular magazine, this particular issue, um, was part of Uncle Forry's collection. Uncle Forry, if you don't know, is Forrest J. Ackerman. You've seen him. You've probably all of you have probably seen him. He was he was the guy sitting behind Michael in the Palace Theater in the Thriller video. So remember, Michael's eating the popcorn, and Ola Ray is sitting there, and then she gets scared, and she walks out, and Michael gets up and follows her. The guy right behind him, right smack behind him, was Forrest J. Ackerman, and he knew John Landis, I'm sure, and that's how he, I think, got the little cameo role in the video. Forrest J. Ackerman was a huge fan of science fiction. He was a science fiction writer. He actually coined the term sci-fi. He was a literary agent. He worked with Isaac Asimov and Ray Bradbury and L. Ron Hubbard. He was also a huge collector. This guy had an incredible collection. He collected horror and monster and science fiction memorabilia. So I knew of Uncle Forry, or Forrest J. Ackerman, um, because he edited a magazine that I used to collect in the 70s when I was a kid. I used to go into this pharmacy to buy my comic books, and on the magazine shelf, each month, you'd find the Famous Monsters of Filmland magazine. And this was a black and white magazine with really cool knockout covers. That was the best part of the magazine, was the covers. That and the back of the magazine, which had the ads for a bunch of merchandise that you could order. I would sit there and I would circle, all the stuff I wanted to order. I don't think I ever ordered anything from that magazine, but well, I wanted to. I mean, they had masks and posters and wallets, anything doing to do with the Universal monsters and all those great characters. So now the magazine was $1.50, which was that was a lot of money when I was a kid. I mean, if comics were 25 cents, I could get six comic books for $1.50. So I didn't buy the magazine every month, but sometimes there were covers that I just could not pass up, and I would pick up the magazine and just take it home and just stare at the cover. I mean, there was great artwork by Basil Gogos, Bob Larkin, Ron Cobb, Ken Kelly. I mean, just incredible artwork. That magazine was a big part of my childhood, and it turns out that a lot of people in the movie industry, guys like Spielberg and John Landis, Peter Jackson, a lot of those guys grew up reading this magazine. They were probably reading it during its heyday in the 60s. It started in 58 and ended in 83. And then it was produced again in a different, by a different publisher or something. There's a big backstory about all that, but I won't get into all that. But I always thought of him as the Stan Lee of monsters. He had a lot of nicknames, Uncle Forry. He called himself Dr. Acula. He was a real eccentric type, like a real showman. So he lived in Los Feliz, which is a city in Los Angeles Incorporated, in the Hollywood area. And he would open up his house to fans on Saturday. Apparently you had to make an appointment. You get there and he would give you a tour of his house. He had the ring, Dracula's ring that Bela Lugosi wore. He had props from King Kong, the original, several editions of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein novel. He had Bram Stoker's Dracula novel autographed by Bram Stoker and Bela Lugosi, just a lot of stuff. In the late 90s, I think there was some drama in his life and stuff, and he had to downsize. He had to move from his Ackerman mansion in Los Feliz to a smaller house. Apparently he had like a big garage sale and sold a bunch of his collection. Man, I would have loved to have gone there to see all that. But from what I've read and stuff, that he still had some things that he brought to a smaller place, and he would continue to let the public come in and visit him and tour his smaller place with the look at the stuff that he had. Then he passed away in 2008, and then in 2009 they auctioned off the rest of his collection, and some of it is up in a museum up in Seattle. But I mean, he had a ton of stuff, so who knows where it all went. But this book here I bought on eBay, and I don't have the date, but it had to have been after 2009. I'm sure it was. Maybe 2011 to 2014 or something. I wish I would have kept the date, but I bought it for $15, and I don't have a COA. I don't have the name of the seller, and I should have documented all that stuff, but I didn't. But his description, the seller's description, was, "This gem is from the Imagine Movie archives of Forrest J. Ackerman, part of Uncle Forry's collection of horror and sci-fi memorabilia." So it's kind of special to me. It's really cool, and it's in great condition. It's gorgeous. God, the colors are just, it looks like it just got off the newsstand, man. I mean, look at that. Yeah, boy. He had a pretty amazing life. There's videos on YouTube. If you do a search for Forrest J. Ackerman, there's a lot of videos, and people took cameras into his house or into his Ackerman mansion and took video of a lot of his collection, and you get to know him kind of through that. And he was a He was a cool character. He was different, but he had that passion, man, and he had some great stuff. So I wasn't gonna go any further, but I thought so there's kind of a side story here. We'll call this Boobgate, my own personal Boobgate, and it has to do with this magazine and everything. So when I was a kid, King Kong came out in December of '76. I saw it when it first came out. I don't recall, I don't think I went to it a second time at the theaters. Now, back then, you know, it would take a couple years for you to see a movie, before it appeared on network television. I mean, Jaws, I think it took like 3 years before Jaws came on. Was it ABC or something? Now, it would appear on Showtime and HBO and stuff like that, but we didn't have that when I was a kid. So you had to literally wait 2 or 3 years for a movie to come on network television. Now, here's the thing. I remembered in the movie, when I saw it as a kid, King Kong had, Jessica Lange in his hand. He would drop her into the water for like a bath. He would pick her up. He would put her under a waterfall to give her a shower. He would blow her off. It was a little. I mean, it was. Jessica Lange was real pretty then, and I was a kid. I mean, God, you know. I was young. I remember the scene where, he's monkeying with her literally, and he uses a finger, and her top comes down, and her left boob comes out. Now, this is a big deal to a little kid in the '70s. I mean, even though, boobs were a dime a dozen. Boobs were all over in the '70s. I mean, we had Cosmopolitan in our house. There were more nipples in that than a baby bottle factory. So, but it was still kind of neat as a kid, to see stuff like that. I'm just saying, don't come for me. So like I said, I only saw it once in the theaters. And so now you wait for it to come on network television. And of course, they're not going to show that on television. And they didn't. Okay. So now cut to 2001. I remember this. Right after 9/11. I remember wanting to pick up the King Kong DVD. I'm sure I went on eBay and I couldn't find it. And then I remember going to Media Play and I couldn't find it there. And I thought, wait a minute, something's up here. If you remember, the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man was going to come out in early 2002. And the first poster that they released for that movie, the promotional poster, showed the World Trade Center reflected in Spider-Man's eye. Somebody at Sony decided to pull all those posters back. To me, all it does is when a company does that and pulls posters back, it just makes them more collectible now and more expensive. And it goes pretty high now, that particular poster, if you get an original. So with that in mind, I thought, are they pulling this DVD because they got the World Trade Center on the cover? Because again, it's that John Berkey art with Kong straddling the towers with Dwan in his one hand, a jet or a helicopter or whatever in another hand. I thought maybe they're going to redo the cover or something. And I remember asking the manager at Media Play, I said, I can't find the Kong 76 anywhere. Is it because they're pulling it because of the World Trade Center? And he was like, no, I haven't heard that. And I don't think that was the case, because I ended up finding it later. I don't remember how much later, but I do remember finding it. I remember, I was going to watch it at home for this is the first time I'd see the uncut version, I think since '76, December '76. And I thought, hey, this will be fun. I liked the movie. It was, I could nitpick it, but there were some great visuals in the movie and stuff. And, I get to see the boob again, right? So I probably, made a day out of it. Made some ham and cheese sandwiches with 2 liter Pepsi and some cookie dough, and I watched it, and there was no boob. There was no boob. A little boob, a little half a boob, but nothing like what I remembered. And I thought, you got to be kidding me. They edited the boob out of this? I mean, what is this? This is crazy. So I thought, man, what a ripoff. And I just thought, oh, there must be. I mean, even back then, they were doing PC stuff. So I thought this was just, this is just all happening again. So now cut to what, 21 years later? And I'm leafing through this magazine, and I get to the story on King Kong. Here comes King Kong. There's her boob. There's her boob. That's what happened. I thought it was in the movie, but it wasn't. It was in Time magazine. And I'm sure we had Time magazine in the 70s. I think we had a subscription to it, because I remember we had the Charlie's Angels cover, and I remember that ended up in my room. So I solved the mystery after what? 47 years? 47 years. I thought the boob was in the movie, and there's a little boob, but it's not like this picture. And it was never in the movie. It was in Time magazine. So I solved Boobgate, my own personal Boobgate, with my, I guess, perverse perseverance. And of course, Uncle Forry. So with all that said, now that I've lost all my female viewers, and all the male viewers are going on eBay to get a copy of this magazine. In the around 2000, 2001, there was a company that teamed up, I guess, with Time magazine or Time Life or whoever it is, and they reproduced covers, they made large prints of a lot of their famous covers and stuff from Time magazine. And I picked up a few. For the first one was obviously, I picked up the Jaws one, the Jaws Super Shark with the Bob Peak artwork, which is awesome. And I don't know whether it's around here somewhere, along with the magazine. But I got the Charlie's Angels one. I don't know if that's picking that up. Why don't I just take it out? And they were decent reproductions. They weren't perfect. They are bigger than the size of the magazine, of course. But they were kind of neat. Time had some pretty decent covers over the years. And I always liked this one. Like I said, we had this. This was from, this predated King Kong. Wow, this came out. Oh, no, no, it didn't. It came out almost a month after the King Kong Time magazine. November 22nd, 1976, for $1. So that was always cool. And they're not bad. They're not bad. And, of course, I got the King Kong one. And I had to buy a custom frame for this because the size is really weird. And I also wanted it, I had to add like a 1/8 of an inch on each side because I wanted to make sure that the price tag and the date wasn't cut off. And it turned out this frame was great. I bought this frame. I ordered it from Frame It Easy online. I've ordered a couple frames from them. but this came out really cool. And also, I was able to compare these two because at the time I got this, I didn't have this mag. I had another copy of this magazine with the mailing label ripped off and stuff, but I had never compared it. And now that I look at it, ugh, I mean, this Uncle Forry's copy is really saturated. It's got a lot of color in it, which is good, but she's kind of red. Jessica Lange is kind of red. This one, they've taken a lot of the red out. I don't think they probably didn't do it on purpose. I mean, was done what, 23 years ago. So who knows how they printed it. The problem is the time, the red with the border and the Time logo and stuff isn't popping. Neither is the yellow in Here Comes King Kong. But she looks a little better. She looks a lot less red. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's not bad. It's wall-worthy. It's wall-worthy. I'll get the Jaws one out one of these days, too. But it's cool. It's cool. I would love to meet her, or I would love her to do a show, because I have a ton of stuff I could get her to sign. A bunch of really cool King Kong stuff. She was on covers on a lot of magazines. I've got stills, posters, you name it. So she's one of the celebrities that I'd still like to get, that I'd probably travel to get autographs from, because I just have so many cool stuff. I don't know if she does that or not. I don't know if she signs, but anyways. I could do my eBay thing. Death by Buffalo. Oh, you don't want me to do that? Okay. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed that. I finally solved a predicament in my life, and so that's all I got. I'll be back with another video soon. Thanks for watching. See ya.